Hello, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and this is the Pipebomb. WWE TV is in big trouble. Ratings are the lowest they've been since the Phineas Godwin years of the mid-90s. Raw is, quite simply, boring, which is bad news for something called sports entertainment. It's duller to sit through than a physical theatre adaptation of Michael Cole's autobiography, and I can honestly say I wouldn't be watching it if it wasn't my job. Whenever things get bad, however, the old adage comes up, that's PG wrestling for you. When will WWE return to TV-14? Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, one, hashtag Adam for WWE Creative. Let's get that trending. But hating on TV PG is like hating on your mum. It's pointless, she's not going to change, and it's how she makes her money. In 2008, to coincide with the first of Linda McMahon's Senate campaigns, didn't they go well, WWE finally hung up its hockey mask and machete and became family-friendly broadcasting. The Great American Bash 2008 was the last TV-14 pay-per-view, and from that point on, intentional blood was gone, swearing was gone, content was produced more to focus on the whole family rather than men aged 14 to 30. Now, whenever something childish is puked onto our screens like Hornswoggle the crocodile fighting El Torito the bull, everyone types typical PG BS, bring back TV-14 Vince, hashtag Adam for WWE Creative. Hundreds upon hundreds of threads, rumour articles, petitions, legions of internet fans baying for blood and hoping for a miracle. But that's the thing, two little people dressed as animals fighting isn't shit because it's geared at children, it's shit because it's shit. Now, this isn't to argue that watching current PG-era Raw doesn't feel like a second job. It's soulless corporate routine. Raw begins, 20-minute promo, Michael Cole fake smile, match ends via DQ, JBL says, uh-oh, advert for Sonic Chicken, Michael Cole's fake laugh, John Cena's open challenge, which is admittedly pretty good, Michael Cole's dead eyes, Divas Revolution, Michael Cole looking straight down the lens and wondering what happened to the little boy from Syracuse, six-man tag match, the end. There's a factory line deadness to everything, a crushing lack of spark or exuberance, but that's got almost nothing to do with it being PG, because everything about PG-era wrestling is better. It's safer, more physically impressive than ever before, mostly because of these guys. But why are things so bad? There are myriad reasons why WWE television is the worst it's been in decades, and each of them probably deserves its own pipe bomb. But in brief, off the top of my head, the 3-hour Raw, terribly scripted promos, shallow short-term schizophrenic booking, the paper-thin main event roster, overproduced and underdisciplined commentary, the way they treat women, a woeful obsession with celebrity culture, lack of investment in younger stars, and a partridge in a pear tree. A lot of those problems involve the product being cheesy, predictable, and flavourless, but that has nothing to do with being PG. You guys have seen a Pixar movie, right? If WWE went back to TV-14 tomorrow, sure, the initial rush of blood and swearing would be exciting, but unless these problems are fixed, it'll be boring again in half a year, probably less. Right now, the occasional sight of hard-way blood or the odd bitch or ass swear word have infinitely more impact than they did a decade ago. Return to TV-14 and all that'll happen is those things become commonplace. The rating isn't liberating. Blood isn't the same as imagination. Now, I get it, the past was exciting, the Attitude Era was compelling, car crash television is compelling, but it's not good for us and it's not good for the sport. The worst thing that the TV-14 era ever did was condition fans to expect blood every single month. Right now, because of that expectation, because of casual fans regarding bloodless wrestling as vanilla, the WWE spend more time chasing ghosts of their past than trying to maximize their new potential. Remember cage matches? Last man standing matches? Hell in a Cell? No holds barred? I Quit matches? Remember these great things, say WWE? Oh, are any of them as good as they were 10 years ago, we ask? Hey, you remember The Rock, right? Says WWE. Despite implementing policies to make sure their content is rated PG, WWE refuse, out of fear, to let go of some of the things from the past that just don't gel with a family-friendly psychology. The concept of family-friendly violence is always going to be weird and unnatural, but what cripples the perception of PG is this inability for the WWE to move beyond gimmicks that worked in the past but don't work today. Just going to leave these pictures of Kane and the Big Show here for no reason. And this is why the TV-14 argument keeps persisting. It's the big irony. By living in fear that their casual audience is getting bored, WWE keeps throwing boring versions of things we used to love at us. 2 Hell in a Cell matches in one night is boring. Vicious match stipulations without vicious action is boring. And hey, if you guys are PG, that's fine, but you have to be brave and change the style of wrestling you market, which families would find new, exciting, and more palatable, like pure endurance, cruiserweights, or women's wrestling. Not doing so is cowardice, pure and simple. Have weaponry-based matches as a very occasional treat if you must, but by and large, scrap the hardcore part of the business entirely if that's the business you're in. Focus on a pure style of wrestling. Be simple and clear with your storylines. I mean, that's the PG model, isn't it? Now, I know that sounds mad and scary and a huge risk, but the audience have proven themselves ready, willing, and gable to invest in old school wrestling. Look at NXT. PG and proud of it. It features wrestlers hurting each other, power bombs on the ring apron, but in terms of big, showy violence, it has a ladder match, once every 18 months? That's what makes it special. The rest of the time, it's people fighting in realistic wrestling matches for realistic reasons, and that's it. It's a secret third way between barbed wire stupid and El Torito stupid. What makes it interesting is the storylines, the wrestlers, and the pure athleticism of it, not faux vanilla versions of hardcore matches from yesteryear. Now, people will say, well, NXT is niche television. Raw and SmackDown play to more casual fans, so it has to be more entertaining. And there aren't enough quotation marks in the world to put around that word entertaining. You can't have mass market old school wrestling shows these days, to which I respond, oh, because the current model WWE have got is doing gangbusters, is it? Case in point number 2. For 3 months straight, John Cena and Kevin Owens put on back-to-back Match of the Year candidates, which everyone loved, and they never left the ring once. People still shouted, holy shit, and this is awesome. The market is there. This is what the fans should think of when they think of PG wrestling. Not as something being lost, but an audience gained for these phenomenal athletes. Returning to TV-14 would be dreadful. First, from a business perspective, if you were a promotion, why would you want to sell a ticket to just mum or dad, probably just dad, when you can sell tickets to the whole family? That just makes good financial sense. And second, TV-14 is not as good as you remember it. Compare TV-14 to a raging party from your teenage years. You look back on that time with fondness because all the hormones that were flying around, the crude impulses, the anarchic unpredictability, you look back on that and there's this irrepressible sense of freedom about it. The problem is that's a trap. Everything in the past is better simply because you were young when it happened and everyone wants to be young again. I do. I'm young. I mean, I'm only 28 and I wank and weep myself to sleep every night at the idea of just being 23 again. Point is, as who you are now, if you went back to one of those parties, you would see that everyone is shrieking at a repulsive volume, the music is terrible, 2 guys are puking on someone's bum, there's really awkward fingering happening in the corner, and it smells like what happens when sweat dies. Of course, this analogy assumes that you're not currently a teenager watching this video. If you are, read a book and be nicer to your parents. Fact is, call me a boring asshole, but I don't want to see porn stars on Raw. I don't want to see giant Samoan men beating up lesbians in their underwear. I don't want puking or crude Asian stereotypes and constant deathmatch bloodletting. I want good PG, simple, well-crafted wrestling. Because compared to TV-14, it's a lot less childish. That's what I think on this topic. Do you agree? Tell me about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and you can even follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and that was the Pipe Bomb.